Did Ayanokoji fail to keep his identity as the mastermind behind Class D's success a secret when he faced Ryuan at the end of Season 2, or was it all part of his plan? And why is it that in Season 3, the other students still didn't know that he's the mastermind of Class D? Watch till the end to understand how Ayanokoji pulled it off. In this video, I'll explain all the tricks and strategies he uses to keep his manipulation of events hidden from everyone. You can apply these principles in any social setting, be it work or school or elsewhere, to discreetly get what you want without getting into any problems or confrontations. But remember, you must apply all these principles together. Neglecting even one could get you exposed. Let's start with the most fundamental principle. Rule number 1. Get others to do the work for you. If you want to work in the shadows, then you must stay in the shadows. This means not taking direct action yourself, especially in public. Instead, have others do the work and execute your plan for you. Ayanokoji is a master of this, often enlisting others to carry out his strategies. Kei Karuizawa is one of the students he frequently asks for favors. For example, he once texted her during a heated class discussion asking her to oppose Hirokita. In another instance, he asked her to spill a drink on Kushida in order to plant a cheat sheet in her clothes while pretending to wipe them. He even tasked her with checking if anyone was following their friend group and taking a picture of them. Ayanokoji also relies heavily on Hirokita to execute his plans. During the pool day, Ayanokoji realized that the classmates who entered the girls' dressing room were trapped. So he asked Hirokita to give a speech to divert everyone's attention, giving the other students the opportunity to escape, as well as asking her to remove the cards. He explained, "If I had tried to stop them, they probably would have gone behind my back, found a way to go forward with it. It was better to let them do it and foil them secretly." During the sports festival, he asked her to convince Sudo to return and help the team, telling her, "This is the perfect chance for you to acquire a weapon. Ken Sudo can be that weapon. Use him in the same way I use you." Additionally, Ayanokoji always lets Hirokita do the talking while he remains silent in situations where they must confront someone. Hirokita and Karuizawa are not the only students he uses. For instance, he once asked a classmate to throw mud on Hirokita in exchange for his crush's email. But to make this principle work for you, there's one essential step you must take, which is to make connections, have friends and allies. You can't have others do the work for you if you don't have connections and allies. Ayanokoji, despite being an introvert, knew this well and made sure to build relationships not only with his classmates but also with students from other classes. He understood the value and utility of having allies. After Hirokita's card was stolen during the island exam, she said to Ayanokoji, "This is all my fault. If I had friends, we could have carried the card in shifts, but I don't. No one in class cares about me." Ayanokoji responded, "Do you mean to say that you're starting to see the value in having allies?" He added, "If you can't win the battle alone, then look for others who can help." The question is though, if you openly talk to many people, wouldn't that raise suspicions and be counterproductive to working in the shadows? That's where the next rule comes into play. Rule number 3, communicate in secret. To hide the fact that you're pulling the strings behind the scenes, it's crucial to keep your interactions where you ask others for favors out of the public eye. Ayanokoji exemplifies this by ensuring that all his requests are made in secret. Whenever he's asking someone to do something, he never does it in public. Instead, he always meets them in private. For example, when Sudo failed the first exam and faced expulsion, Ayanokoji chose not to speak to the teacher in front of the class. Instead, he stayed silent, waited for her to leave, and then discreetly followed her to privately discuss using points to save Sudo. His meetings with students are also conducted in secret, for example his meetings with Hirata, his meetings with Kushida, his meetings with Ryuan, his meetings with Arisu, and so on. With Kei Karuizawa, he usually gives her instructions either through text or a phone call. And when they meet, it's also always in secret, starting from their very first meeting in the cruise ship to their other meetings later on in the series. He also frequently invites students to his room for private discussions, carefully avoiding any chance of being seen by others. This level of secrecy is essential to maintaining the illusion that he is not the one orchestrating events behind the scenes. Rule number 4, have someone else take credit for your deeds. If Class D consistently succeeds in the special exams despite being the lowest ranked class, students will inevitably start questioning who's behind their success. Ayanokoji, always one step ahead, ensured he wouldn't be uncovered as the mastermind behind their achievements by having others take credit for his plans. For instance, in the very first special exam, Ayanokoji managed to get an older student to give him the old test questions, but he asked Kushida, "When we do this, can you tell the class that you're the one who got the questions?" Later, Ayanokoji saved Sudo from expulsion. When Kushida asked him how he managed to do that, he said that it was Hirokita who did it by talking to the administration. In another instance, Hanami praised him for coming up with the idea of installing cameras to trick the students who accused Sudo, but he explained, "Hirokita came up with the Machiavellian scheme. I'm just some guy following orders, to be perfectly honest with you." Again, after winning the island special exam, he had all the other students believe that it was Horikita who identified the other group's leaders. In the following exam, he again attributed his plan to Horikita. Hanami asked him, "I'm curious, did Horikita come up with this plan?" Ayanokoji replied, "If not her, who else could?" Rule number 5. Gather information in secret. To operate effectively from the shadows, you need as much information as possible about the people involved and their activities. Ayanokoji excels at this by constantly observing his peers, analyzing their behavior, their words, and their interactions. And he doesn't stop at just surface-level knowledge. Instead, he tries to go deeper, digging into their past and trying to uncover their hidden true personality. In addition to his observations, Ayanokoji occasionally seeks out more information from others. For instance, he once asked Horikita, "Tell me everything you know about Karuizawa. Something about the way she's been acting seems off. She's shown no sign of wanting to participate in the test at all and she's been unusually quiet." Ayanokoji doesn't just observe people to understand them, he also monitors their movements and activities. This way he can know if some scheme is taking place. But since constantly monitoring people can be noticed and arouse suspicions, he enlists others to do it for him and tell him what's going on. Karuizawa serves as his primary informant. He once instructed her to track Sato's movements, saying, "Find out who she hangs out with and what she does in a normal day. I want you to get as much information about her personal life as possible. Email me whatever you discover." She's also the one who informed him in Season 3 that some students are trying to get him expelled. Rule number 6. Avoid attention and the spotlight. To operate effectively in the shadows, it's crucial that you avoid drawing attention to yourself. Ayanokoji excels at this by minimizing his visibility. He speaks very little and remains completely silent during class discussions, to the point where his presence often goes unnoticed. One classmate even remarked, "I hardly ever notice when he's in class. He takes being a fly on the wall to a whole new level." His preference for sitting in the back corner of the classroom further ensures he remains inconspicuous. Ayanokoji himself has said, "I don't like to draw unnecessary attention to myself." However, complete seclusion and withdrawal can backfire, making you more noticeable and potentially raise red flags. To counter this, Ayanokoji ensures he participates in group activities. For example, when the students were assigning roles during the island exam, Ayanokoji joined them while Horikita didn't. He told her, "Not taking any kind of role will make you stand out from the group." While Ayanokoji gets involved in activities, he deliberately avoids high-profile roles that would make him stand out too much. When Horikita's brother invited him to join the student council, he declined, stating, "I don't like expanding more energy than I have to. The student council seems like too much work, and honestly I just want to have a normal life." Another thing Ayanokoji does to avoid attention is to hide his true potential. For instance, he intentionally scored 50 on all the entrance exams even though he can easily get perfect scores. And during the sports festival, he asked about the average grip strength so that he wouldn't surpass it. He also allowed the president to win the race. By hiding his abilities and appearing as an average student, he ensures that no one suspects him of being able to orchestrate the genius plans that benefit Class D. Rule number 7. Don't reveal your intentions. Some students openly express their desire to defeat other classes, making them immediate suspects whenever something suspicious occurs. For example, during the island exam, Ayanokoji quickly realized that Ryuin was behind the other class's plans. In contrast, Kiyotaka never openly declared his intention to win or defeat other classes, so no one ever suspected that he was quietly scheming to help his class succeed. His uninterested and uninvolved demeanor leads others to believe that he has no intention of defeating other classes, making him seem like a non-threat and avoid suspicion. By hiding his intentions and keeping his thoughts to himself, he can maneuver behind the scenes without drawing attention. As Karuizawa once noted, "I can never tell what's going on in his head." In another instance, the school director told Arisu regarding Ayanokoji, "You really think he's the kind of person who would reveal anything he wasn't forced to? You clearly don't know him well." Rule number 8. Maintain an innocuous appearance and a positive reputation. One of the most important rules for working in the shadows is to build and maintain a positive reputation. This is why Ayanokoji always outsmarts Ryuin. Due to his negative reputation, Ryuin is always under suspicion and closely watched, making his schemes ineffective and easily uncovered. Ayanokoji maintains a positive reputation and a good public image, which prevents others from suspecting him of secretly scheming and manipulating events. He also maintains a calm and innocuous appearance which further reinforces his image as innocent and above suspicion. In one instance, the new student council president Nagumo once said, "Kiyotaka Ayanokoji, he's the guy Manabu Horikita thinks most highly of. And if Ayanokoji was involved in Ryuin's downfall, then that must mean. Maybe I'm overthinking it, he doesn't look like a man with many layers." Rule number 9. Leave no trace behind. To avoid exposure while working in the shadows, it's crucial to leave no trace and evidence of your actions. Before ending his phone call with Karuizawa, Ayanokoji told her, "One more thing, make sure that you delete." She finished his thought, saying, "Oh, my call history, I already know." In another instance, he reminded her, "It'll be safest if you delete anything that links us. You can keep my emergency contact, but everything else has to go. I've already completely erased your contact information on my end." Rule number 10, only share with individuals who have a reason not to expose you. To answer the question posed at the beginning of this video, of course Ayanokoji didn't fail at keeping his identity secret. It was all part of his plan. He explained to Ryuan, "So, have you figured it out yet? A situation where violence is the only way to resolve it, that's what I've wanted from the beginning. If my goal really was to keep my identity a secret, I never would have used Monobe in the first place. This whole time you've been operating under the assumption that I was afraid of being discovered." Ryuan replied, "But that was all just an act to draw me into a trap, right? You're telling me that we've just been dancing in the palm of your hand?" Ayanokoji wasn't concerned about revealing his identity to Ryuan and his group because he knew they had every reason not to expose him. Revealing his identity would also mean admitting to their humiliating defeat, which they obviously wouldn't want others to know. This applies to his other allies and informants. He only shares his intentions and demands with students who have a reason not to expose him. For example, Horikita dislikes attention, and exposing Ayanokoji would only bring unwanted focus onto her. Karuizawa, on the other hand, is deeply attached and attracted to Ayanokoji, and she knows that revealing his secrets would destroy their relationship. By carefully choosing who he confides in, Ayanokoji ensures that his schemes and maneuvers remain in the shadows.